Buckle up, folks. Let's embark on an epic adventure to Easter Island, the most isolated inhabited island on our amazing planet. This tiny volcanic gem is floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, over 2,000 miles from South America and a whopping 1,000 miles from the next closest landmass. Can you believe it? It's like finding a needle in a haystack, or rather, an island in the vast ocean. But Polynesian explorers did just that. They braved the unknown between 900 and 1,100 AD, and their incredible journey changed everything. Welcome to Rapa Nui, an island shrouded in mystery and drama, with a story that'll leave you speechless. But first, let's unravel a little secret: what's really behind the name Easter Island. Spoiler alert, we don't actually know its original name. The native people living there today don't remember it either. Some say this forgotten name is a haunting reminder of the devastating collapse that hit Rapa Nui hard, forcing us to wonder what secrets lie hidden beneath the surface. So, who gets credit for giving Easter Island its iconic moniker? That title goes to Jacob Roggeveen, a Dutch explorer who stumbled upon this enigmatic land on Easter Sunday in 1720. Talk about fate. But here's the cool part: Rapa Nui isn't even the name the island was born with. In Polynesia, it's known as Rapa Nui since the 1860s, but only after a major cultural crash. Some researchers think it was once called Te Pito, a title that translates to either the navel of the world or the end of the earth. Mind blown, right? Others argue there might not have been an original name at all. The mystery continues. Hold up, we've got some new intel. It seems Easter Island was initially known as Tikanga, which translates to simply Earth. Makes sense, given its super remote location. Maybe our early explorers thought they were the only ones around. Fast forward to today, and you'll spot an army of iconic Moai guardians dotting the Rapa Nui landscape. These colossal masterpieces are more than just eye candy. They're a testament to ancient ingenuity. Did you know there were almost 1,000 of these carved wonders scattered across the island? Talk about leaving a legacy. But wait, there's more to these Moai legends. Many have been swallowed by the earth, their bodies buried beneath layers of soil, but don't worry, archaeologists have managed to dig them up and uncover their secrets. And what did they find? The Moai aren't just heads after all. They've got full-on bodies with arms and torsos, which were originally placed on platforms called ahu. According to the locals, these colossal statues represent deified ancestors who watched over the land and its people. Some of them are absolute giants, stretching up to 30 feet tall and tipping the scales at a whopping over 80 tons. Take Palo, for example. This beast weighs an incredible 82 tons and stands at an astonishing 32 feet. But how did they manage to create such massive marvels? The Moai were carved from Rapa Nui's unique volcanic stone, which just so happened to be tough yet super easy to chisel. But here's an interesting twist. Not all of those Moai were meant to leave their birthplace. It's estimated that only about half of them actually made it to their final resting spots, with the rest staying behind at the quarry, some still raw and unfinished, others just chilling in limbo. Now, one theory was that this could have been a sign of an abrupt collapse of the Rapa Nui culture, like they just ran out of steam mid-project. But hold up, experts are now suggesting something way cooler. Maybe those leftover Moai were actually left on purpose to keep watch over the quarry site. Let's get this massive party started literally. We're talking about moving these gigantic Moai, some weighing up to 86 tons, and we've got theories galore on how they did it. The old school way was all about brute force. Imagine a giant Y-shaped sled made of tree trunks, with ropes crafted from tree bark, and a crew of around 200 people pulling together. That's no picnic. But then, some genius came along and proposed a smoother, more stylish move, literally. Using a rocking technique, just 15 people could have rocked these statues into place. Mind blown. It's like they were giving the Moai their own cool walking animation, straight out of a local legend that says these statues strolled to their final homes. Talk about drama. Let's shine our spotlight on Hoa Hakananaya, a true showstopper among Moai. This incredible statue stands out not only for its massive size, but also because it was carved from basalt, one of the toughest rocks you'll ever find. We're talking about a material so hard that even with modern tools like iron or steel, it's a real challenge to chisel away at. But wait, here's the jaw-dropping part. The Rapa Nui people didn't have access to these advanced tools. They were working with Stone Age technology and still managed to create this basalt masterpiece. That's some serious talent and determination. So, how did our ancestors bring these colossal moai to life? Well, archaeologists have discovered that they used a tool called toki, essentially basalt picks ore, which were found all over Easter Island. But here's where things get really interesting. When it came to carving Hakananaya, those trusty basalt tools just weren't enough. Instead, the Rapa Nui people likely employed a time-consuming and grueling grinding technique to shape and refine this massive statue made from super hard basalt. Can you imagine the sheer amount of elbow grease they must have put in? And that's not all. Fast forward some time after Hakananaya was initially carved, new carvings were added to its back, featuring anthropomorphic Birdman. This unexpected twist clashes with the original statue's sleek, sharp lines, making for a fascinating contrast between old and new. You're dying to know what's behind those extra Birdman carvings, right? Unfortunately, we can't know for certain why they were added or what they symbolized, but historians and researchers have some theories. It could be that these anthropomorphic Birdmen represented a shift in power or spiritual focus within the Rapa Nui society. As for what led to the downfall of this incredible civilization, by 1870, 7 Easter Island's majestic Moai guardians were toppled and left to ruin, with only about 110 people struggling to survive amidst the remnants of their once great culture. The story goes that one of the primary explanations for Rapa Nui society's collapse was first proposed in the 1970s by a clever archaeologist named William Mulloyle, but we'll dive deeper into his theory and see what other factors might have contributed to this epic fall from grace. You've probably heard about Jared Diamond's thought-provoking book Collapse, which put the Rapa Nui society's downfall in the spotlight, right? Well, according to his bestseller published in 2005, it turns out that by the time Europeans even set foot on Easter Island, things were already pretty dire. A brutal civil war had been raging for ages, claiming thousands of lives and leaving behind a trail of chaos. Just think cannibalism and warring factions fighting over the last remaining scraps of resources. And get this, archaeologists have actually found hundreds of spear points made from obsidian, as well as human skeletons with signs of violence, which seems to support Diamond's theory that things took a seriously dark turn on Rapa Nui before the Europeans even arrived. So, what led to this epic collapse of the Rapa Nui society? One major factor was their uncontrolled tree-chopping frenzy. They cleared almost all the trees from the island to build those iconic Moai statues and use slash-and-burn farming methods. Big mistake. Imagine an idyllic landscape teeming with over 16 million trees when the first settlers arrived, but by the time Europeans got there in the 1700s, it had transformed into a barren wasteland. When Captain James Cook stopped by in 1774, he even described the locals as weak, timid, and pretty miserable. No wonder, given their environment. You've probably heard about Easter Island's epic downfall in Jared Diamond's book Collapse. But there's actually two sides to this tale. On one hand, the island's devastating ecocide is seen as a cautionary warning. If we don't learn how to use our resources wisely, we could face global disasters. It paints a pretty bleak picture of human nature, suggesting we're quick to turn on each other when things get rough. But here's the thing, that's not the whole story. There's another version, one that shows us as resilient and capable of teaming up to overcome tough times. We've got a curveball. You might think you know Easter Island's tale, but it just got a whole lot more interesting. Here's the thing, it wasn't those infamous humans who wiped out the island's forests. It was actually a sneaky gang of Polynesian rats that hopped onto early settlers' canoes and took over. These tiny troublemakers multiplied into the millions, munching on palm tree roots and seeds and causing total ecological chaos. But guess what? Despite all this environmental mayhem, society didn't completely collapse. The Rapa Nui people stepped up and adapted to their new reality. Let's dig into some fascinating facts. Ancient trash dumps on Easter Island revealed a surprising secret. Rat bones made up an astonishing 60% of the waste. It turns out these invasive critters became a food source for the islanders. But that's not all. The Rapa Nui people also developed a genius farming technique called rock gardening. By scattering broken stones across their soil, they let the wind do the work and release essential nutrients from the rocks, creating a nutrient-rich environment to grow their crops. And it turns out Captain Cook's infamous reputation for describing the islanders as weak and miserable completely debunked. In reality, his accounts paint a very different picture. He actually saw them as vibrant and healthy. More surprises from Easter Island's past. Contrary to popular belief, other explorers who visited the island in the 1700s and 1800s also described a thriving community, not a struggling one on the brink of collapse. A French explorer who stopped by in 1786 was blown away by the island's beauty and abundance. Instead of finding exhausted people, he discovered a bustling population with stunning looks and an incredible supply of food grown effortlessly from their fertile soil. So, what about the rumors of warfare and cannibalism? It seems those obsidian spear points we mentioned earlier weren't actually for fighting. They were too dull for that. Scientists have since confirmed that these tools were used mainly for food preparation, not combat. And when examining ancient skeletons, researchers found surprisingly few signs of physical harm or trauma. The truth about Easter Island is more fascinating than the myths. Let's debunk another myth about Easter Island. You might think that moving those massive Moai statues into place would have required chopping down countless trees, but actually it was a simple yet impressive feat of teamwork using rope and manpower. No deforestation needed. And here's the thing, even after the island had been largely cleared of its trees, the Rapa Nui people didn't stop expressing their creativity. In fact, in 2020, scientists found massive pits filled with red ochre, a vibrant pigment used for painting those Moai statues and creating petroglyphs. Evidence that the locals continued to thrive as artists until at least the 17th century. So how did Rapa Nui fare after their tree troubles started? Well, it wasn't easy, but they found ways to adapt. The rats might have been a real problem, but we're not seeing total collapse here, just a major shift in how the islanders lived and created. As deforestation took its toll, megalithic carving slowly came to an end, making way for something entirely new. Fast forward to 1540 on Easter Island's southern tip, the Birdman cult was born. This fascinating movement centered around two main gods, Moai, the creator of humanity and fertility god, and Hawatu Take, the mighty egg chief. Talk about a unique pantheon. Let's dive deeper into the Birdman cult's world. On the summit of Ranu volcano caldera, you'll find an incredible treasure trove of pictographs and carvings, 375 stunning images of Tangata Manu, or Birdman, etched into rocks. These rock art wonders are a testament to the cult's significance, and one of their most prized artifacts is actually carved onto the back of Hoa Hakananaya, an iconic symbol bridging old Maui culture with the rise of the Birdman movement. By 1680, the village of Orongo was born on the island, featuring over 50 stone houses that stand as a remarkable legacy of this enigmatic time in Rapa Nui history. Get ready for a thrilling tale from Rapa Nui's past. As the Birdman cult took shape, they developed an extraordinary tradition to pick their leader, the Great Manutara Egg Hunt. Every year, hopefuls would plunge into the treacherous waters off Orongo's cliffs, braving the ocean below in search of the first egg laid by the sacred Manutara bird. Whoever retrieved that precious egg would be crowned supreme ruler for the next 12 months, a title held until the competition began anew. This daring challenge not only ensured a peaceful transition of power, but also celebrated the island's deep connection with nature and the revered Manutara bird. As this bird-inspired leader donned his most avian look, a completely shaved head and impressively lengthy nails, we see a glimpse into Rapa Nui's unique culture, where art flourished, governance was harmonious, and spirituality thrived. However, just like a perfectly balanced ecosystem, their society was disrupted when European explorers arrived on the shores of their island home. The introduction of foreign objects and ideas sparked something called cargo cults, a mix of fascination and misunderstanding that led to chaos. Tragically, this collision with the outside world ultimately resulted in genocide, silencing the rich voice of Rapa Nui's civilization forever. In 1722, Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen's unexpected arrival sent shockwaves through Rapa Nui. It was like nothing they'd ever seen before. The islanders were convinced they were alone in the world. Little did they know, there was an entire planet teeming with life. In their attempt to make sense of this new reality, they built scale models of European ships out of stone, a phenomenon that historians consider to be the world's very first cargo cult. But that wasn't all. European contact also brought devastating diseases that swept through Rapa Nui over several decades in the 1800s, leaving an indelible mark on the islanders' health and numbers. And if this weren't enough, in 1862, Peruvian slave ships stormed the shores, forcibly taking more than 1,400 people, nearly a third of the entire population, into a life of brutal servitude, further eroding what was left of Rapa Nui's once thriving society. In 1863, after an international outcry, Peru finally agreed to send back the handful of survivors from their brutal slave raids. But here's the tragic twist: when these worn-out islanders were finally reunited with their homeland, they brought a deadly companion, smallpox. Of nearly 470 returned islanders, only 15 managed to survive the grueling journey back to Rapa Nui. Unfortunately for the remaining population, those 15 were the vectors of destruction. The disease ripped through Easter Island like wildfire, decimating what was left of its already battered people. By 1877, a mere 110 souls remained, just a faint echo of an island civilization that had once thrived with a rich culture and architecture. But this isn't your typical tale of environmental collapse or overpopulation. It's a stark reminder of the devastating impact of external forces on human societies, a harsh lesson we can learn from the resilient yet tragic history of Easter Island. Imagine Easter Island without the outsiders, existing in perfect harmony, its people living off the land's bounty, their culture thriving with every sunrise. Perhaps they would have harnessed new innovations, tended to the forests, and built a civilization that rivaled the grandeur of their ancient structures. Or maybe, despite their best efforts, the islanders were on an inevitable